Hello and good morning. Today our topic will be the ascending and descending tracts of spinal cord, and this is the sagittal section of the brain. Sagittal means if we are looking on the brain from upside down, and then we will be cutting it into the two sections, and we are seeing currently one section from one side laterally, and that is known as the sagittal section. And these are the parts of the spinal cord, and as I've told in the previous video, this is the white matter, white matter, and white matter. And this is the anterior lateral sulcus, and this is the ventral root, and this is the gray matter. And ventral means they enter from this portion, and this is the dorsal root that enter from this portion, and this is the posterior lateral sulcus. And we're gonna move forward. And nerve cell groups in posterior gray matter. There are four main groups, as you can see here. And there is the substantia gelatinosa group, and nucleus proprius, nucleus dorsalis, and visceral afferent nucleus. And substantia gelatinosa carries pain, temperature, and touch, and nucleus proprius carries senses of position, movement, and position and movement are both known as proprioception and 2-point discrimination and vibration. These are basically carried through the dorsal column, and these are very important emotions and very important sensations, and they are carried through very important tract. And then there's nucleus dorsalis. It has proprioceptive endings from neuromuscular spindles and tendon fibers. And then there's the visceral efferent nucleus, and it carries visceral efferent information. This is the lateral, central, medial, okay, and this is the intermediate nucleus, and this is the intermedial nucleus, and this is the nucleus dorsalis, this is the proprius, and this is the gelatinosa. And they exist in the cell groups of the posterior gray column, and these two nucleus in the intermediate gray column. We do not need to concern ourselves with that much detail. And this is the transverse section of the spinal cord, and this is the spinal cord, and we have taken a section from it, and we are looking from it from above. It is known as the transverse section. And this is the lateral white, posterior white column, and then there are the tracts, the fasciculus gracilis and fasciculus cuneatus. These are present in the both sides. There is the fasciculus gracilis here and the fasciculus gracilis here, and then there is the fasciculus cuneatus here, and then there is the fasciculus cuneatus here. Okay, and this is the nucleus proprius, and these are the anterior white column, anterior white commissure, and it is this section is of the C5 segment, cervical 5. Okay, and this is the T2. As you can see, it's shrunk. This is quite broad, and this is not very broad as compared to the previous section, because as we move down the spinal cord, the sections become shrunken, and these are the same things here present here. So we are going to discuss the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. Ascending means going up, and tracts are the paths which are carrying information from the body to the up to the brain through the spinal cord. And by the end of the session, these are some learning objectives, and we are going to generally see the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. And as I've told before, there are two fasciculus gracilis and two fasciculus cuneatus. This is fasciculus cuneatus, and this is fasciculus cuneatus. Okay, and this is the posterior cerebellar spinal tract, and This is the lateral spinothalamic tract and anterior cerebral tract, and same things are present here. Okay, so we are gonna do a clinical case. A 32-year-old woman burns her hand while cooking but experiences no pain, and she has modest weakness and wasting of the musculature with impairment of pain and thermal sensibilities, and vibratory and position senses are intact. So, which tracts carry the impairment of pain and thermal sensibilities? We are gonna learn that, and there are different tracks for different sensations, and in a shawl-like distribution, and we don't need to concern ourselves with much detail, and so these are the ascending tracts. These are the bundle of nerve fibers linking the spinal cord with higher centers of the brain, and they convey information from the soma viscera to the higher level of CNS. Soma means body, or viscera means organs, to the higher level of the CNS, meaning the brain. And there are two types of sensory basic information. This is the exteroceptive information and proprioceptive information. Exteroceptive means information coming from outside, and proprioceptive means information coming from inside. So there is a conscious sensation which reaches the cerebral cortex, and unconscious sensation reaches other than cortex, because cortex is the storehouse of our memories, and it will store conscious memories only, and unconscious sensations may go to the hindbrain, for example breathing rate and etc. And there is a spinal cord input and output, and this person is touching in hot object, and there is a painful stimulus reaching from here through the spinal cord, and there is a rapid let me show you what will happen. As for example, this information reached his spinal cord, for example, at the T4 section, and the information will go upwards and will go backwards immediately for him to remove his hands. The spinal cord will tell the brain that I have successfully removed our hand, and it will not the brain will not authorize such action, because they are need to be made immediately, which the spinal cord took liberty to make. Okay, and there are ascending pathways for conscious perception, which are spinothalamic and medial lemniscal system. Okay, and these are the spinothalamic tracts. As you can see, they're going upwards, and for unconscious perception, there's the spinocerebral, spinoolivary, spinotactile, and spinal-reticular. So this is the anatomical organization of the ascending tracts. There is the first order neuron, and the second order neuron, and the third order neuron. As you can see, these are the sensory endings, and the neurons which are coming from the sensory endings are the first order neurons, and then from the spinal cord and the tracts which are which neurons that are ascending upwards are the second order neurons, and when they reach the medulla oblongata, there are the group of third order neurons which take the information to the cerebral cortex. Okay, and as you can see here, these are the first order neurons, again the second order neurons, and these are the third order neurons. And this is the cerebral cortex. So First are the neurons. These are the cell body in posterior root ganglion, and they connect with the sensory receptor endings, for example these, and they enter the spinal cord through the posterior root. As you can see, this is the anterior root, this is the posterior root, and they are entering through the posterior root. Okay, and then we'll move forward, and this is the dorsal horn, and this is the dorsal root, which is sensory root, and the anterior one is the motor root. Always remember that the anterior one is the motor root and posterior one is the sensory root. And this is the spinal nerve, and this is the dorsal root ganglion. Ganglion is basically where there is present many cell bodies, and their axons are scattered elsewhere. And as you can see, this is the first order neuron, and these are the sensory endings from where the first order neuron is starting. Okay, then there comes the second order neuron, and their cell body is in posterior gray column of the spinal cord. As you can see, they are entering through the posterior gray column, and they are ascending. Axon causes the midline desiccate. As you can see, it is desiccating here. It is going from the left to right side like this, and desiccating means the passing through the central gray commissure, and they ascend and nice with the third order neuron here, and in thalamus diencephalon part of the brain. Okay, so these are the second order neurons. Again, they are entering through the posterior column, which is sensory, and then they're desiccating, crossing the middle, and then they are going upward from the spinothalamic tract here, and they cross the midline and in front of the central canal. Okay, this is the central canal. And then there are the third order neurons. Their cell body is in thalamus, and they give rise to the projection of the fibers to the cerebral cortex in the sensory area. Okay, these are the third order neuron, and they take the information to the cerebral cortex, which is the sensory area in the conscious reception. And then there's the ascending sensory pathway, and they form sensory endings to cerebral cortex from here to here, and there is a three neuron chain. And these are some tracts. This is the gracilis, cuneatus, dorsocerebral, ventrocerebral, and spinothalamic. And these are the ascending tracts of the spinal cord. And the lateral carries painful and thermal sensation. Anterior carry light grid tension, pressure, fasciculus, gracilis, and cuneatus. Gracilis basically takes upper limb sensation, and cuneatus, gracilis takes lower limb sensations of the muscles, and the cuneatus takes upper limb sensations. And they also take the discriminative touch and movement, position, and vibration sense. And these are the rest of the tracts. You can study them. And then there is the spinal thalamic system. We will study these later on in the next videos. Thank you very much for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe, and also click the bell icon. And thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.